Hello, everyone. Hope everybody is having a fantastic weekend. Some interesting new deets coming to you this podcast. Thank you so much for joining. Do hit that thumbs up button and subscribe, and make sure to turn on notifications so that you are notified as and when I go live. I'm also thinking I should probably start posting my Substack link more often, because that would be a good way of starting an email list, and I think that's quite important with these platforms like YouTube. Also in the chat, let me know if you want me to start a Patreon. Does anybody want me to start a Patreon? I've always been a bit hesitant just because I never really have time to create additional content. And then there's also, members that are already members for YouTube. So I feel like I should actually make more of an effort to create exclusive members for YouTube. Or I could just like repost on YouTube and on Patreon, and for members who are on Buy Me a Coffee. I don't know. If anybody wants me to start Patreon, let me know in the comment section. Otherwise, I'll just leave things as it is. Also, if you could put any suggestions in the chat about exclusive content or exclusive live streams, ideas for that would be great as well. Just anything you think I could or should add, you let me know. I wasn't able to do a podcast yesterday because I'm not even kidding. I got food poisoning. I bought a sandwich in the morning. I didn't eat it all day. And then about an hour after I ate it, it was a salmon sandwich, I threw up. I literally threw up. So I learned that apparently, bacteria can start forming. I didn't know this was a thing. Jeez, I learned a lesson yesterday. Don't eat a sandwich that you bought at lunchtime in the evening. If you didn't eat it at lunchtime, just throw it away. Oh, do we have a member? Congratulations. Thank you to Ellen Vernon for being a member 36 months. Thank you so much, Ellen Vernon. Yes, you have been here. You've been in the trenches, in the ghetto with us all this time. Appreciate you so much. Appreciate all of you. Can't believe we are coming to almost 4 years. Patreon does have better payouts. It's honestly not even about the money. It's just, do you guys want it or not? Do you think it's of any use? Do people like Patreon? Would you like me to create more content, like exclusive content for people who are members Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee? It's just like more me asking you what you want. I don't know how the payment system works, but I wasn't necessarily asking for that. But thank you for letting me know. I did not know that, because I've never really used Patreon. Yeah, and Lewis, what exactly is Sophie doing in Africa? Definitely not doing anything useful, that's for sure. Okay, let's get on to okay, there's something. Okay, I thought my chat wasn't working there for a sec. And you don't mess with any fish food. I know. But it's just like it seemed fresh. I was just like, really? It didn't seem like I wouldn't be able to eat it. Having said that, I'm wondering if I even just have some kind of, or if I form some kind of minor allergic reaction to fish. Because thinking about it, the last couple times where I've thrown up with food poisoning, it was fish. It was like calamari. I threw up after I had a tuna sandwich, which I ate straight away. And now this with the salmon. And then I also threw up one time when I had like semi-rare mahi-mahi. I think I just have something with fish. I'll have to have that checked out. Anywho, Anne's health problems over. Let's get on to royal problems. Even more exciting. But let's go on to some good news first. So what I missed yesterday was Meghan was at the godmother's bookstore and she was in conversation with a former friend, we found out. Let me just grab up my notes now. One sec. Here we go. So she was in conversation with Courtney Adamo, who has written a book that is centered around homemaking and creating joy in the home. It's called The Family Home. And perfect for Meghan's brand, for what she's about, for what she's trying to create with the As Ever brand and with Love Meghan. And also turns out that herself and Courtney were college and sorority sisters. That's amazing. See, I'm telling you, everything for Meghan is just destiny. So it was in conversation with which was hosted by Victoria Jackson, creating a home that's filled with joy. And one of the tidbits was Courtney sharing she read books to Archie and Lily with Meghan. Now, I haven't actually watched the full video. It was like a link online, and because of the time differences in the UK, but I've seen bits and pieces, and it was just a very like fireside, calm, like fun conversation. Courtney's book, The Family Home, is a beautiful and practical guide to intentional living. Drawing on her experience raising 5 children, Courtney and her husband, Michael, feature 24 inspiring homes around the world, showing how design can nurture connection, creativity, and comfort. From clever storage ideas to displaying kids' artwork and creating cozy shared spaces, the book celebrates home filled with joy and meaning, everything that Meghan is about. At the event, Meghan talked about always bringing a candle with her everywhere, including abroad, sweet family traditions, including one called Rose and Thorn, where everyone shares the best rose and hardest thorn parts of their day. Meghan laughed that Lily always says, "My day was just a blast." Oh, so sweet. So sweet. You know, Meghan just looking happy, healthy, and fresh. The godmother's store is I remember when they had the launch and Meghan was wearing the diamond tennis necklace and the white, and Oprah was there. So it seems to be like a central hub for the community, and not just a bookstore, an actual place of community. So lovely to see Meghan there. Also, Meghan giving us more hints as to what could be coming for the As Ever brand. So we had one preview and we've had 2 more. One with a sparkling wine, or what appears to be some kind of sparkling wine or champagne, and another one with what appears to be some kind of spread, possibly the raspberry jam being restocked, but some people are also saying it could be strawberry. I also think that we may be getting some limited edition items for the holidays. One person said that it could actually be cranberry sauce, possibly a mulled wine. Left to be seen. You give me your guesses in the chat. Let's see. Lady, got my card ready for Tuesday. Yeah, save the date, 28th. Whatever it is, I'm sure we'll all love it. Someone put on Twitter, my Delulu fantasy is that international shipping will be available. Now, that's not entirely delusional, actually. A company as big as Netflix, it wouldn't be too much for them to get in contact with, you know, a food logistics company and just get the ish done. So, and you know, for the holiday season, It's peak retail time. You really want to maximize profits. That's the time to do it. So I don't think it's completely delulu to wish that perhaps we will get something regarding international shipping, maybe. Left to be seen. Mina, you said, if it's strawberry, I am buying. I'm holding out for the raspberry jam. I want 6 jars this time. It's actually incredible how, they've gone from, what did Meghan say, 1,000 SKUs to 1 million SKUs. Like, that's just how popular it is. And they seem to be keeping up with stock now. Like, they're reading the room and they're realizing that they underestimated just how popular everything would be. And that's good to know. Alrighty then. Next thing. What shall we touch on next? Gosh, my slides are kind of all over the place today. All right, let's get on to guess we can get back to the other royals. So a lot of people noticed that Charles bought his car all the way to Rome just for this event. He bought his Bentley. And this isn't the first time he's done this. I don't know why you need your very own car to be flown over for a state visit. That's so expensive. He did it in Germany. And he also did it apparently when he went to France. Just why? Why be this over the top and extravagant just for a short state visit? Like, it just doesn't warrant it. It doesn't warrant this amount of spending. And people are starting to notice these things. Now, following all of this drama with Andrew, there has been some polling, not the usual YouGov poll nonsense that's usually skewed towards the royals. And the results are interesting. So, worryingly for the royals, 61% of the public are saying it's likely the family knew about Andrew's alleged behavior before it was reported publicly, giving rise to concerns of a cover-up. I mean, is that just not obvious at this point? How could they have not known? They literally have access to government intel. The FBI knew, but the British royal family didn't know. And 57% say there should be an inquiry into what the royals knew about the allegations. Even the late Queen comes out of the scandal badly, with 56% saying she did too much to protect Andrew. I mean, she was in the car going to church the day after Epstein was offed. So, and that 12 million, where did that come from? For Virginia Giuffre to not talk when the Queen was having the jubbly. 71% said they do not believe Andrew's claims of innocence. The ones who do believe his claims of innocence, who are you? Can you show yourselves, please? So I know not to come near you. 77% say Andrew should face criminal investigations. 70% say the police have not taken enough action against Andrew. 69% say Andrew losing his titles is inadequate punishment for sexual abuse. So the tide is turning, but it will be interesting to see as things go forward. Is this something that just affects Andrew? Or will the other royals start to get pulled into this? For sure, unfortunately, this is going to be a stain on the Queen's memory. I do think that William and Kate are also going to get potentially pulled into this. William is trying to beat his chest and act like he's the one who's, putting the hammer down on Andrew, trying to hijack this whole thing. But as far as I'm concerned, I think many people who have their heads screwed on well are concerned. If there is no justice for victims, all of this is just smoke and mirrors. It's all just smoke and mirrors. Kevon Sims, you said, what William Mumbles are the most popular royals at the UK media, stay stalking Meghan's Instagram and Substack. I think they would crawl through their trash if they had to access it. I mean, didn't they literally do that? Didn't somebody literally hire a private investigator to look for Meghan's social security number and all of this stuff? Thank you for the super chat, Kevon. I think all of the US presidents travel with Road Force One. Yeah, but that's the US president. I do not think that Charles would need his car for a trip to the Vatican for one weekend. I just don't believe that. Like, the US president is such a major target. More, I think the US president is a bigger target than Charles any day of the week. And wouldn't they just put that in the back of Air Force One anyway? Put it in the bumper? But I don't know, maybe they, with all of this stuff about Andrew, maybe that has increased their security risk. So perhaps that's the reason why. The Royals never travel with their vehicles abroad unless it's now upgraded as security features. Yes, the Royal knew of Andrew Shenanigans, Randy Andy, his nickname, before Harry was born, indeed. And it's not just Andrew Shenanigans. There are people that have had their knighthoods removed because of allegations, many of which were proven against them. Rolf Potts, Savile, Max Clifford. I mean, they'd be given knighthood to the most, just the nastiest people. G, you said, sadly, the working royals are not allowed to earn a living and live off the stipend, right? So what retirement monies and housing would they have? Well, this is exactly why they should be allowed to do half in, half out. Now, the problem in the past, and I'm going to be fair, even to people I don't like, I'm going to be fair. One thing I have noted is that the institution, and this isn't just for Harry and Meghan, even for the other royals as well, the institution, when they try to be independent, sabotage them. But also, I think these people are just so, because they've never had to work for anything, they have no sense of being able to create something sustainable on their own, even when they do try. So the institution, first of all, infantilizes them, so they have trouble, even when they do have tried to be independent to start something. I think Edward tried to start like a film production company or something like that. I think Fergie, she's tried to write and all that kind of stuff. But then when they do start something, the institution sabotages that. And this all goes back to control. The institution doesn't want them to be independent, but Harry and Meghan and Diana are the only ones that have been brave enough to say that. Anyone who's brave enough to say that is then threatened. But that bravery is eventually what has set Harry and Meghan free. And they now earn a living. So I don't blame the others entirely for the situation that they're in, but I think I would feel more sorry for them if they were if they had a backbone enough to come out and talk about it, and B, if they had supported Harry and Meghan. Because now they're stuck. Harry said it himself, they're trapped. I think that for the future generations of royals, the young ones, they should be told, you're going to school, you're getting jobs. And quite frankly, due to nepotism, they probably will get decent jobs, but they need to have the work ethic installed in them young. There will be no smiling and waving for the young ones. There shouldn't be any. Even the other royals on mainland Europe, they've already understood this. I think one of the princesses, I can't remember which one it was, but they cut her inheritance down significantly. I think it was only like a €1 million inheritance or something like that. So she's getting something, but they're not going to be funded for their whole lives. Right, on to the next thing. Augusta, she said the royal institution sabotages them. Meghan figured that out quickly and got out. Yeah, indeed. 100%. But at this point, by continuing to stay and not say anything, they're also contributing to their own sabotage at this point. Who's asking, Anne Lewis, what do Princess Anne's children do for a living? Is Princess Anne still working to cover their royal protection? I have no idea. I keep hearing that Princess Anne is the most hardworking royal. She does 365 million engagements. I don't know what any of them are. She rolled up to a Save the Children's charity shop the other day. I mean, the jokes just write themselves. Indeed, the children need to be saved, except they need to be saved from the royal family. Right, trying to find what I was going to read for my next slide. Yeah. Henry VIII saying, I don't pretend to be an expert, but I think it's a safe guess that in a state of this size and age, costs hundreds of thousands, if not seven figures a year to maintain. Where does that money come from? Good question. How much money does Eddie pay the Crown Estate for his humble home? Where does he get the cash? The same with Anne as well. Anne has a massive home. Apparently, they want to ask Fergie and Andrew to leave Royal Lodge. Lee Cohen wrote, Prince Andrew to move out of Royal Lodge. From the optics, a good move for the monarchy, your thoughts? And Graham Smith, who's the head of Republic, responded by saying, sure, if you think punishment for an alleged R and corruption is to live in a different mansion from the one you've been living in. # abolish the monarchy. And he's right. They filled the headlines this past week with Andrew's going to strip off his titles. That was a lie. They then started filling the headlines with Andrew's going to be sent abroad. Andrew's leaving Royal Lodge. Okay. Is he going to be sleeping in a homeless shelter or is he just going to be sleeping in another mansion? There was another article saying that they removed Andrew's flag. I think it was from Windsor Castle or the chapel or something. Okay, removing a flag. It's insulting. There was an interesting article in the Daily Mail about the Queen and is the Queen to blame for how Prince Andrew turned out. I mean, I think the whole institution coddles these people. Also, I find it interesting that they just focused on the Queen because Andrew does have a dad. Like, where's Philip in all of this? This from Celeb Bitchy. The big Prince Andrew news breaking last night is that Windsor Castle removed Andrew's banner, a banner with his coat of arms from the display in St. George's Chapel. Oh, it's in St. George's Chapel. The removal of a royal banner is apparently typically only removed in cases of high treason or rebellions against the crown. This is very similar to Andrew relinquishing his honours, like the Order of the Garter. Royalists insist that these demotions mean something huge because Andrew loves this kind of stuff, when really the Windsors decided to remove a banner rather than remove an estual predator, indeed. And they're still protecting him. Speaking of, after days of mainstream political outcry about Andrew, everything is now being quietly taken care of behind the scenes. The Starmer government has shut down a debate about Andrew, his finances, his Royal Lodge lease, and his crimes. Hilariously, these are not the only this isn't all from Buckingham Palace. The palace has decided to throw Queen Elizabeth under the bus, blame Andrew on the Queen. She was the one who indulged him. I mean, they're not wrong, but but it's not entirely the Queen. It's the whole institution. Interestingly, this is Jan Moore who wrote this article. I'm not gonna read what she wrote, but she just basically goes on a rant about, is this all the Queen's fault? Moore keeps going and going, but I don't think the Queen is solely responsible for Andrew's depravity. I absolutely blame her for indulging him and protecting him and covering up his crimes. The Queen and her courtiers used every tool at their disposal to ensure that Mummy's favourite never had to face consequences or even a check on his behaviour. This is all because Andrew never actually broke the Windsor Omerta. He didn't break any of the rules which really mattered to them, which should be a larger conversation too. Why weren't Andrew's crimes a bigger deal within the institution and within his family? I'll tell you why, because it's normalised. That's why. This behaviour is normalised. I feel like this rabbit hole is so much deeper and darker than we probably ever want to know. They're okay with it because it's normal in their circles. Mountbatten didn't get his boat blown up for no reason. Truly gross. Harry and Meghan really did flee. Like a whole British prince referring to getting on Tyler Perry's jet as a freedom flight. There's a darn good reason he called it a freedom flight, because they were truly escaping. There were rumours in the past Andrew and Fergie to move into Frogmore Cottage. Well, the rumour is that Camilla wants Royal Lodge. So it wouldn't surprise me if they were trying to get Fergie and Andrew into Frogmore. Just get them somewhere smaller and get them out of the way. The rumour was that Andrew believes that Charles wants to give Royal Lodge to Camilla. Also, there was meant to be some kind of major announcement, and the press were in a flurry, running all over the place. And now it's looking more like all of that so-called big announcement that never came was actually just Andrew moving out of Royal Lodge. And I think it's William with his briefing that hoped to overshadow Charles's visit to the Pope and take credit for pushing Andrew out. I think also William wants Royal Lodge. Royal Lodge, by the way, it's the one property. I mean, they're all pretty grand properties, the royal properties. But Royal Lodge actually looks the closest to the Montecito Castle, which I found quite interesting. Now, let's move on to Sophie. Sophie has made a second visit with taxpayer funds to the Democratic Republic of Congo to talk about sexual violence. So she'll fly all the way to another country to talk about this. But sitting right in the palace is her family member accused of doing the same, and she has nothing to say. But she'll fly all the way to the Democratic Republic of Congo to do absolutely nothing but pose for pictures. Also, why is she holding a monkey? But she won't address her own family members' behaviour. Someone saying on Twitter, she has gone multiple times and hasn't personally helped a single R victim she claims she is there to support. No one story of her funding any of the programs, paying for a girls' school, fighting to help get them asylum or get them out of a war zone. This is so cynical. Going to a war zone to take pictures is incredibly cynical. Going to a war zone to take pictures and just look sad. But nothing actionable. I hadn't even known that she'd gone, because this was actually earlier this month, but I'd only caught wind of this now, because I don't follow what the other minor royals do, and I thought I'd just slip it into today's podcast because I hadn't covered it at the time. Missed me. Meanwhile, Kate and William, and again, not that I want them to do any overseas trips. I don't want any of these people to do trips where they're not invited, because I don't even know if Sophie was invited. But the bigger royals, they're failing to keep up with international trips. And I think they've just figured out they're not wanted. And indeed, finally, they figured out they're not wanted. So I think they're sending Sophie the minor royals because it just doesn't cause much of a splash. And to be frank, Sophie, at least, she goes and she's useless, but she doesn't cause embarrassment. If she goes by herself, she doesn't seem to cause embarrassment. I mean, the most embarrassing thing I saw was when her and Edward, I think they give pictures to one of the Jamaican politicians, pictures of themselves, because that's exactly what you want, a picture of Edward and Sophie. But Sophie doesn't seem to embarrass herself, so they're probably thinking, oh, it's safe to send her. But the fact that I'm only hearing about this today because it happened to come across my feed tells you it's a waste of time. Not that the cause of bringing attention to what's going on in the Democratic Republic of Congo is a waste of time, but it is a waste of time to spend taxpayer money and send a minor royal. That is what is a waste of time and money that could be better spent if you really want to help these people or bring attention to what's going on. Because the part of the point of it is, I guess, to bring attention to what's going on. But have you come there with any solutions? Are you actually saying anything meaningful? No. Are you bringing anything impactful? No. So why did you go? There was no point. If you're not going to do anything for the people that you're meeting, don't bother going. I think Harry and Meghan have set the standard for this. They don't go empty-handed. They never have. And they hit the ground running and mean business. Okay. Oh, do we have a new member? Hello. Hello, Taj. Is that how you say it? Could you spell it phonetically for me in the chat, please, so that I can actually pronounce it properly? Your girl has a slight stutter, so sometimes I don't read things properly. Thank you so much for joining membership. You are so much appreciated. Reminder that if you would like to join memberships, you can do so through either YouTube or buy me a coffee. 100% appreciate you all. It all helps, folks. Every little helps. And royals, media, government normalize abuse. Listen, I almost forgot to play this, but I want you all to have a listen to this. So this was in Parliament, I think the day before yesterday. And they've basically said not to talk about or criticize the royals. Where is it now? Oops. Okay, I'm gonna have to download it again. Give me a sec, folks. I think where is it now? Where is it now? Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, I think we'll come back to that because it didn't download. Where are we now? Okay, 1 second, folks. Okay, let's play this. This is from the House of Commons, and this is the Speaker of the House speaking.
Before we come to questions, I know there's been some commentary on what members of this House may or may not discuss in the Chamber in relation to Prince Andrew, some of which is inaccurate. There is understandably great interest from members and from the public on this matter. For the benefit of the House, I would like to be clear that there are ways for the House to properly consider this matter. Any discussions about the conduct or reflections on members of the royal family can be properly discussed on the substantive motions, and I know some members have already tabled such a motion. I am not able to allocate time for a debate on such a motion, but others are able to do so if wishing to do that. But on questions, the long-standing practice of the House, as set out in the scheme, is that criticism of members of the royal family cannot be made as part of questions. I hope this is helpful clarification. Before we come to questions.
Criticism of the royal family cannot be made. Listen, I think these people have opened a Pandora's box that they're going to regret. The interesting thing is that I honestly believe this whole thing with Epstein and Andrew, it's been going on for years. I think that if they hadn't made a big I think the whole thing about the titles was like a knee-jerk reaction because Virginia Giuffre's book was coming. So they thought, oh, we have to do something. I actually think this would have gone better for them if they had done nothing or said nothing. Because it's not like people are going to grab the pitchforks and the torches, the tiki torches, and go marching down Buckingham Palace. So I think it was a knee-jerk reaction that didn't go too well. And I think knowing that this book was going to come out, they should have just exiled Andrew somewhere a long time ago. Not we get to this point, the book's come out, and now you're talking about, oh, we're going to move him here, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. You're not going to do anything. Goodness me. All right, so Porita. Thank you so much for spelling that. And thank you for becoming a member again. Helen, you said, I don't care where they live. What I care about is Andrew Windsor is questioned. Yeah, that's what we're going to call him now. Andrew Windsor is questioned by the Met Police and FBI. He should be charged and thrown into jail. I mean, the FBI wanted to question him. ABC had a whole feature on Virginia Giuffre, which was killed because of William and Kate. They were threatened a million ways, up, down, and sideways, to not air that interview. I think we need to see that interview. Hidley, you said Sophie looks like she doesn't want to be there because she probably doesn't. I also think it's interesting that this Sophie going was in early October. I think they knew the book was coming. I mean, I think, don't get me wrong, I think the cause is a great cause. Bringing attention to what they're bringing attention to is great, but nobody's paying attention to Sophie, Duchess Sophie. Nobody's paying attention to her. So why even spend this money to send her there? The amount of money you're going to pay for security. Like, why not actually send someone who, if you send them, people will actually pay attention. That's all I'm saying. And it just stinks that you are behaving as if you're so concerned about these women going through this in another country, but your family member who's accused of all sorts, you don't want to bring any attention to that. It's like even with Beatrice and Eugenie, weren't they doing something, helping trafficking victims? But hello, your dad, hello. That's why it just comes across as so seedy. Like they're trying so hard to be like, oh no, we didn't know about anything. We didn't know anything was going on. Oh look, we support women, we support victims of abuse. That's what it comes across as, and that's why it comes across as so disingenuous. No one's saying that this isn't a worthy cause. Of course it is. But look at who's trying to attach themselves to that cause. I'm sorry, but we don't believe that I don't believe that these people are so passionate about these issues, because the whole institution is a whole history of silencing women. And every single one who speaks out, something happens to her. And thank goodness on this occasion, Harry realized, there's no saving this situation. History is going to repeat itself. And whether it's within the royal family or in the, in the fringes of their orbit, women who speak up against this institution, nothing good happens to them. Okay, let's get through your comments. Thank you again, Kevon Sims. You're so kind. You said only the Republic group are going to show up at Trooping the Colours next year. Oh, you'd be surprised. I mean, by this time next year, you might have a couple more protest groups, and Republic might be even bigger. It will be Republic and the paid actors. That's who's going to Trooping next year. Republic and the paid actors. Thank you so much, Kevon. The sound is coming in and out, really? Is it bad? All right, folks, I'm going to end things there. Lots of positive things to look forward to. Gosh, I really didn't want to turn my podcast into the Andrew show. I'm not, like, I would just like for this to move somewhere meaningful. But as always, we've just seen over and over again, the most powerful get protected. I think if anything does happen to Andrew, and this is what even annoys me even more, if something does happen to Andrew, if any amount of justice does come to Andrew, it's only going to be because he's going to be used as the fall guy. Because there are hundreds of Andrews. So the focus should be, the investigation and the focus of this should be so much more wider than it even is. And even Epstein, he's just a front man. Yes, that's exactly what Harry said. I've seen behind the curtain. I don't want any part of it. I think that we're going to get Spare 2 when Charles passes away. Yes, Hidley, too bad the bots can't be invited. The bots cannot be invited. Okay, Hidley, I'm going to give you the last word of the day. Cannot wait until Tuesday. Neither come nigh. Only one more day to go. Let's see what other previews we get. And I'm sure Tuesday is going to be a wonderful day. See you later, folks. Ciao.